good. It's interesting you came on to India there, because I was going to ask you next about India. I mean, your data shows that India passing. Obviously this is a forecast and a projection, but it shows India passing 1 million metric tons in 2025. So what makes you so bullish on India? I mean, do you think is that going to happen from merely kind of expansion of into the farming areas, or do you think that stuff needs to be done in terms of the efficiency and the processes of the farming as well?
Yeah, I think perhaps a little bit of everything, right? And as we are talking now, and maybe we have to revise the number, because the Indian government has just announced even more bullish and aggressive numbers, and they want to get to 1.4 million tons by 2024. So hopefully they have the right plans in place and putting a lot more infrastructure. And I do believe that I think that the land and also relatively less diseases challenge compared to other countries. They do have disease challenge, but relatively less again. And I think there's still extensive farming are still dominating in India. They will get a little bit more. In general, when I'm a bit have a different view from Robin. I think there will be diseases challenge. There will always be diseases challenge, and whether India or the other countries, when you go into more intensification, when there are more density within the same confined area, the motherland is going to revenge to a certain extent. So there will be new diseases, but however, there will also be new technology helping to manage these diseases and helping the production efficiency. So I think that these are all with India, and again the currency. One of the main, we seldom talk about that, but I think the currency is really helping India big times. If you look at the same time period with exporting country and currency, India has a lot of advantage at that as well, besides all this farming capability and practices.
Thanks, Samson. I wanted to ask you, there's another country has been very bullish recently in terms of the outlook for their shrimp industry, and that's Indonesia. Talking very optimistically about million metric ton targets for the industry, which they seem to do every few years. But however, it sounds like there's it's quite serious, and that there's actually there's a strong political will to get behind it and industry cooperation. So can you tell us a bit more about what that's going on in Indonesia with that drive, please?
Yeah, I think same as India, the Indonesia is even earlier to put on their ambitions plan to grow the shrimp farming industry by 2.5x by 2024, 2025. And that has to come a lot of a new farming area also now moving further from the East Java, even further east from East Java, and Sulawesi. So we believe that the farming technology and experience in Indonesia, the farmer has been farming for a long time, and already in a very, very intensive or even super intensive farming model already. And as I just said, in 2020, we probably see that they didn't drop. They actually perhaps may have increased the production. So all this set up a very, very good foundation for them to grow further.
Interesting. And then looking beyond 2021, do you think that the growth in Ecuador can be sustained? And do you see that 1 million metric tons as a kind of viable target with the current kind of industry model and approach, or do you think there has to be changes to the way things are done in the industry to kind of to go to that level?
Well, in order to see a growth and reaching the 1 million metric tons, you need to have a healthy market, and you have to have a healthy demand. So you have to be able to sell everything that you are producing comfortably, enough so that the farmers are motivated, earn money, and keep on investing to grow. As far as land, Ecuador's growth has not been in building land. There are very few changes in certain lands. We have banana farms that are converted into shrimp farms. It takes a lot of time and investment. But our growth has been in the same ponds in productivity. We are not talking about intensive, but we are seeding a little bit more. Instead of 8 animals per square meter, up to maybe 15 animals per square meter. So that's almost double density, from what we were doing in the past. If we expect the pandemic to calm down, I'm not saying it's going to go away, but we have vaccines all over the world. You're starting to see some effect. What we sell is a block of shrimp. So we sell head-on and headless block frozen as Ecuador. That's our main item. When that market shut down last year, our price was affected, right? But as soon as the restaurants start to open up again, they're going to demand that same product that they were demanding back into 2020. So there's a market, a complete part of the market that is shut down. And that's our main customer for the past, not for the future, because we already have orders in for more value added than we can produce, just because everybody was late, everybody was backed up. So Ecuador as a whole ramped up their value added production, and we can and will do the value added. Of course, it makes sense to do value added when you have it, but our factories were set up to do head on. So for us to see an important growth and reach the 1 million metric tons, if it wasn't because of COVID, I would have said that in 2022 we would have been in the 1 million metric tons. We were well on our way. In 2020, we started the year with 26% growth in the first 3 months. If we kept that number, we would have been there in 2022. So we have the know-how. We just need the market to be with us. And COVID took the market away from it. So definitely, I mean, this year, of course, we're going to peel more and more. And we just have to watch that number between export statistics, which is exported product, and production statistics from Ecuador. Just because Ecuador, the way they post numbers is not production numbers.
On Ecuador, I'm not Ecuadorian. Haven't been to Ecuador, I think, in 2-3 years now. So my perspective is generally from my own experience. Thailand was on its way to 1 million tons too, back in 2010, 2011. And we know where Thailand ended up, because there is such a thing as environmental carrying capacity. Environments will only take so much before they collapse, before they come back and they bite you. So what is the environmental carrying capacity of Ecuador? I don't know what that is, but I do know they've had 250,000 hectares of ponds. They're intensifying. So they're at, to get their 700,000 tons, what is that multiplication? That's probably almost 3 tons per hectare per year. 7 years ago, they were 1 ton per hectare per year. So they have intensified through addition of aerators, auto feeders, heavier stocking, but that also means more feed going into the environment. So the carrying capacity is real. And what that is for Ecuador, I don't know. But I do know from my own experience, when you get carried away with just easy increases like Thailand had, there is an endpoint. And it is very true. Governments are always pushing for more and more and more. And none of them ever talk about what is the responsible level we should go to before we exceed the boundary. Because when you exceed the boundary, the fall is long. And we've seen this in China. We saw this in Thailand. We see this in all the countries that get exuberant about production and about what the industry means. So in Ecuador, I don't think it's any different. They're intensifying. There's more feed being fed. There's more pollution. There's more nutrients going into their environment. Density has its own stresses. Ecuador has been successful because they do Ecuadorian. And they're the only country that can really do Ecuadorian, meaning they have large amounts of pre-built ponds that they can have lower stocking levels. That's less stress. That's less disease. That's less feed into the environment. So as you intensify, you do change the equation. So where the endpoint is for Ecuador, I don't know, but there is an endpoint.
On my question of the 1 million ton target, Robbins, is there which country is your favorite to hit that?
Well, right now, I kind of like the slow, steady movement of Vietnam. They're kind of methodical. They go up that 8-10% every year. They're transforming their technology. Now, carrying capacity can be modified by technology. So as you make technology more efficient, you add carrying capacity to a given area. So Vietnam has done a very good methodical job of transforming technology and increasing efficiency. So with that steady growth, that transformation of technology, I think Vietnam is doing an excellent job. Indonesia also, although they're behind, they've got the resource base, they've got the geography to do it. India certainly can do it, but I think they have to be a little bit more careful with their technology, and that they can also quite easily, I think, go over the cliff because they're kind of just continuing with the same technology, just piling it on and on and on. And there's just so far you can pile things.
Thanks, Robbins. Well, Manoj, what do you think of India potentially hitting 1 million or even 1.4 million, tons, as the government has kind of said? Do you think that is actually a viable target with the industry structured as it is, or do kind of major changes need to be made in the industry to get there? And if so, what are those changes?
So, Tom, let me be very honest, because I have been into farming for almost now 27, 30 years. So, on an outset, I will say, yes, India has definitely a potential to even produce 2 million tons. There's no doubt about the potential and the resources. But the question is that, as Robin says, can we afford it? Can we sustain it? Can we make it profitable? So that is very, very, very big thing for us, because if you see up to 2010, India was an out and out, was a monodon country. And on an average, we have never produced more than 70,000 tons. Unless and until Vanami was introduced into our country. And if you can see the data you shared in your presentation, in 10 years, you could see India has every year has added on more than 100,000 tons. It was in 2010, 100,000 tons to 200,000 in 2012. In 2015, we are almost 500,000 tons, and like that. In 2018-19, we already crossed 0.8 million. So definitely, yes. But what I do agree with Mr. Robbins, that if you see what really matters in the farming is the current capacity.
Question here from Leader Farfan. Let's make this the last one because it's a good question to finish on. Leader's asking, will Ecuador get to the 1 million metric tons sooner than India? Which I guess it'd be good to get everybody to give an answer to that. And then also, if you don't think it's going to be Ecuador or India, say who it's going to be. I mean, Robbins, you've already kind of talked about Vietnam earlier, but I think that would be a good way to finish if everybody goes around and gives their opinion on that question. Robbins, do you want to kick off?
Well, you already, it's all guessing.
You've said Vietnam, I guess.
So basically, I like the idea for Vietnam because I don't see the exuberance. So I think over exuberance sometimes kills the goose.
Yeah, okay. Samson, do you want to say who you think will be the 1 million ton winner?
Yeah. If you can pick one, I think so far Ecuador has proven they have managed a very difficult year very well from really manufacturing from China to somewhere else. Instead, I think India as a whole is still seeing a lot of setback due to COVID. So if I have a bet, I think Ecuador will probably be the winner.
Okay, Manoj?
As I said, definitely India has a potential to even cross 1 million metric ton. But as a farmer, I will not advise right now that we should gear up to get into the race of who is the first. Maybe India can be second, third in the line. But I think unless and until it makes sustainable and profitable for the industry, we should not rush to produce more. I think that's what my message is to my farmers. I think, but definitely you ask me, India has a better potential than any other country to cross the 1 million mark.
Yeah, but it should be quality and quantity.
Yes. Right now, system is not geared up, and we are not prepared to handle that production. Yes, I'll tell you, our domestic market is highly underrated. If the government really push and the farmer association really pick up the domestic market arena, India has a potential to consume 1 million metric ton in the country, because we are already consuming 14 million metric tons of fish domestically. So that's where is a very big market.
Yeah, that's a great point. Gabriel, what about you? I guess you're going to say Ecuador already, aren't you?
Well, I mean, I think that we were on our way. Without COVID, we were on our way. Our production matrix, our farms, our factories more than everything was suited in a non-COVID world to reach the 1 million mark quickly. We were going to get there. I mean, 25%. Yes, last year we were already talking 25% growth, and it wasn't a crazy growth. I think that India, of course, has the capacity to do it. I think that if Vietnam becomes if their intensive projects are developed, it's a race to getting to the 1 million mark. I think it's a race to keeping this as profitable as possible so that we keep supply there. The world demand is there, and it keeps on growing. Let's grow with demand, and let's not get crazy and look for marks or 1 millions or 2 millions or 1.6s or 1.4s. Everybody who's producing today has gone through hardship, has gone through difficulties, have gone through disease, through all sorts of problems. And we're all still here, and we're all strong, and we're all coming back year after year with better numbers. We have our downs, we have our ups, but eventually we get back on place. And I think it's just, let's keep the world supply where it is. Let's keep it increasing healthy. Let's stay here. The demand is there. If there is no drop suddenly from anybody, the price will gradually follow us. If there's a drop, of course, you'll see a bloop in the market. And yeah, if somebody drops 5-10% and they weren't expected to drop, we'll see it in the market. We'll see it immediately. This world market, the supply and demand world market, when something varies 1%, you feel it in the other side of the world. If India is down 1% for some reason on some item, on a 3140 P&D, I feel it the next day. If somebody was out there to book 15 loads that night and they didn't, they come back the next day and the next morning to us. And they say, listen, I was going to book this in India and I couldn't. Can I get 15 loads of this? It's all connected. So we need to keep growing steadily with demand. And we need to do as much efforts as possible to grow demand. Publicity, proper publicity, sustainability, the whole works. We just need supply to keep on growing with us. We know and we believe in our protein. That's why we're here. Everybody who's here, I think, loves this protein and loves this shrimp. So we love and believe in it. Let's not get crazy with marks. Nobody wants to win. We just want to supply it properly.
Let's not bring shrimp farming to the Olympics.
Correct. I mean, we all look like we know.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Let's not bring it to the Olympics. Nobody wants to beat.
No, and we all look like we know what we're doing. So if it's a matter of
that's
growing,
what I'm saying. As a farmer, I'm saying, let's not get into the race.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have a bathtub at home that's not producing any shrimp.